information on emotional abuse. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. This phrase shows how hurtful words cannot cause physical pain, thus not being seen as dangerous on a person. Abuse can be obvious, leaving you with physical bruises. It can also be less obvious, leaving internal scars, pain, and suffering. When people think of abuse, they typically think of the stereotypes that go with it. So it is notable to remember that abuse is not just physical or sexual. In fact, the least talked about type of abuse is emotional abuse. It is very common, so you or someone you know may have been experiencing it. As I have experienced it for myself, I feel that everybody should know what it entails. Being able to identify abuse is the first step to stopping it. Understanding what emotional abuse is, the signs to watch out for, and how it affects the victims might help you or someone else in the long run. Let's start off by discussing what exactly emotional abuse is. According to the American Psychological Association, it is described as a pattern of behavior in which a person deliberately and repeatedly subjects another to non-physical acts that are detrimental to the behavior and effective functioning and overall mental well-being. Emotional abuse can show up in many common forms of relationships, two of the most being an intimate and parental relationship. Recognizing the signs is often subtle, thus being very hard to detect. Within a romantic relationship, emotionally abusive people tend to display unrealistic expectations, undermine your perceptions and desires, use emotional blackmail by manipulating or guilt-shaming. They act superior and entitled, blaming you for their mistakes, and might isolate you from other people. Likewise, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, parents who emotionally abuse their kids do not create an environment for them to feel that it is safe to express their emotions. They will then repress their emotions and may grow up resulting to substance abuse as a poor coping mechanism. When the child grows up in an environment where they are constantly criticized and have their emotional needs neglected, they tend to experience their emotions in extremes, which could lead to emotional outbursts. The earlier one starts experiencing emotional abuse, the more catastrophic effects it will have on its victims. The scars of emotional abuse can cause lifelong impacts. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, psychological abuse is the #1 most prevalent form of child abuse and neglect. It weakens the individual's emotional development and sense of self-worth. Studies shown by the New York University Medical Center have said that emotional abuse can lead to chronic stress, which may release the stress hormone called cortisol that not only damages but also prevents the development of the hippocampus, which is the primary area of the brain that is associated with memory and learning. This can result to severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD. I have a quick clip to show the impacts words can have on a person, despite the fact that we don't find them to be as dangerous.
No! What is this idiot?
Whether it's words, constant criticism, or even a silence, if you hear it often enough, you might start to believe it.
As shown in the video, words meant to put down people tend to linger, leaving invisible scars on our mental health, and ultimately make us believe that they are true. All things considered, emotional abuse is psychological manipulation that can be done through multiple people, leaving detrimental impacts on its victims. The best way to prevent it is to understand what it is, detect the signs, and know its effects. Broken bones will heal and mend, but words will hurt until the end.